Hey, folks, you're listening to the Wrecking Crew Comedy Podcast. I'm Vito D'Amico, and today we're doing part two of the Mitch Lafon interview. Mitch is on the line here. Mitch, how you doing?
Doing very well, actually. Surviving the holidays, actually.
Did you have a good Christmas?
Yeah, it was great. Nobody asked me to go anywhere, so I got to enjoy it.
Anything? Did you get anything good?
Well, I got peace and quiet. No, in terms of getting stuff, no, not really. My wife and I over the years have agreed that we won't buy ourselves stuff. We'll give it all to the kids and make their Christmas extra special. So we put all our money into frickin' frack, and they're very happy with it. They got a whole bunch of video games, they got a whole bunch of gift cards, they got a whole bunch of all kinds of stuff, and
It's just
we got the bills. So Merry Christmas to us.
I know Christmas sucks. Absolutely. I don't know. I you know,
Well, it
going.
sucks if you're trying to maintain a budget.
Yeah, it's just going shopping and looking around, and you try and explain to the kid, going, it should be love and peace, and it's like, Dad, fuck off, get me some good shit, you know. It's like, all right, this is when you try and explain to them, go, this is the Christmas is, it's not about gifts, it's about beating the shit out of a Jew and putting them on a fucking stick and that should be it, and going to midnight mass and thinking about how guilty even though you weren't there, you should get in trouble for that.
Well, I think actually my daughter got it right. I said, "What do you want for Christmas?" And she looked at me and she said, "Cash." And she's only 13. And I said, "How much?" And she said, "Would 120 be okay?" And I went, "All right, we're in business. You got a deal. We're
Really
done."
smart kid.
Yeah.
It's like my daughter too. It's like, Dad, I'd rather have this, or she gives me a list, and it's just you kind of look at the list going, fuck, uh, this is gonna set me back.
Jada, she's not only reasonable, she's very wise. She goes, "Why would I want you to buy me something and probably not like it when I could just have the cash and go buy something myself that I know I will like?" And I went, "That is very reasonable.
Don't
I'm
you,
with
don't you
with."
remember? You remember when you were a kid that I think one of the coolest gifts I ever got was and it was just one gift. Was I know I sound like a fucking just one gift. I'm sure I got tons of other stuff. It was like clothing. You'd always get clothing, and it was like this. But I got a TIE fighter.
You mean I got beige corduroy pants again? That is so awesome, Mom.
No, I know. We'd always get just, and you'd have to sit there and smile and and go, "This is awesome."
You want me to put them on right now? Sure,
Yeah,
in front of
sure,
all these people. Why not?
sure. Go
I
give, go
look
give
good in
your,
beige.
go give your aunt a kiss.
Yeah.
She got you
No,
them, and it's like, oh fuck, yeah. No, but yeah, I remember getting like one or two maybe toys and just thinking, this is the best. And these days, it's just like a mountain. They get a mountain, of toys. If I was a kid, fuck, it would just be a dream come true. Yeah. So, and did you see the big fight?
I saw the big fight on Twitter. I got to see people tweet about it real quick, and I figured I got to see the whole thing on a tweet for free rather than I think $80 that people paid for
Yeah,
it.
I didn't pay for it. I watched it on YouTube like the next day. I'm not really a big girl fight kind of thing. Like I never understood. They're like, oh, this chick is, she's like so strong and she's a fucking Terminator and blah blah. And I'm watching. And I'm going, what a Terminator that malfunctioned? A shitty Terminator? A
Well,
fucking
she's the early model Terminator,
no.
not as improved as now.
Oh god, it was like I'm sitting there going, hey, I felt like it was like the media. When the media tell you how great things are. Remember how they were going to say Hillary's going to be the next president? You're like, yeah, sure. Everybody, Hillary's the next president. Everybody's talking about how the media. That's all they talked about. How this chick was going to be, a fucking monster. And I'm watching it, going, what is this shit? And then her like it checked out her last fight. She got her head kicked in there. I'm thinking, what? Why do people? She just looks like I know a couple of girls from the Tim Hortons down the road. I swear to God, they would rip the shit out of this Rhonda chick. I mean, we got tough broads down here. I don't get it. I don't. It's like they just they make this girl into something, some vixen of destruction. And I'm just thinking she's just a okay. Maybe she works out a lot, but there's tons of girls I know that could fucking kick her ass. Then they made this shit, Mitch. They go she could take on a guy. I'm thinking what? Yeah, she could beat up a man. That's how tough she is. And I'm thinking, God, yeah, I don't know. Like, no, I don't think so. Like, I'm not trying to be sexist, but I think most guys would beat the shit out of her, period.
Well, listen, when they say that, it's because she's visiting a palliative care home. So they're probably right that she could handle a couple of those guys. But speaking of the wonderful political season and the U.S. election, don't you find it amusing that they're all, oh, Russian interfered,
Yeah, I don't
and you
get
look
that.
back at the American history and you go, didn't you interfere, let's say, in like Panama,
I know.
Venezuela, Iraq? Like, how dare you be offended of regime change or whatever when
I know.
that's basically been your raison d'etre for like 250 years? Like, slow it down, my friends. Okay,
But I don't
let's.
get how they're saying Russia hacked in, and what did Russia do? I don't understand. They how did they affect the election? They hacked in and screwed up the vote or something?
No, they're saying that they hacked into the Democratic National Convention emails, and by exposing those emails, it changed people's opinions, and therefore they
Oh,
voted for Trump. But
it's like cheating on your wife. It's like, well, you fuck, why did you, you know, you caught me. Why are you sending out pictures of me fucking around? Like that should be private. Don't
right,
tell people I'm
exactly.
cheating. You know?
It reminds you of Judge Judy. She goes, "Yeah, but for the fact that
Yeah,
you were lying," and it's just like, well, if you hadn't been lying, even if they had hacked in, they would have put out what emails that said, "Hey, bring home some milk for supper." I mean, if that had been your emails, it wouldn't have changed anything.
yeah,
Don't
yeah. They were pretty
don't
evil.
don't.
Did you hear
Yeah,
that she was getting? I heard this that there was a girl that worked for CNN, and she was giving her questions ahead of time when Hillary was supposed to go up against Bernie, and Hillary was all like she was getting the questions what CNN was going to ask her, and
yeah. I
Bernie.
mean,
It was brutal. Like I'm thinking that's not nice, man.
no, they hacked into it, and they found out that stuff. And first of all, who knows if it's the Russians that hacked into it? And second of all, had they not been, conniving, it wouldn't have mattered if they had hacked in. And anyway, I just
Yeah,
find it amusing that it's become the battle cry of the losing side. And if Trump had lost, do you think this would even be a discussion at this point? And the
no,
answer is no.
no, it wouldn't
A-
have. I
And
know. I think that's what
and
bothers people a lot.
ask the people in Panama about what they think of people meddling in their affair, or Iran when they installed the Shah of Iran. Ask them if they thought the U.S. was hacking into their political system.
I
Anyway,
know, I know. All right, let's get to the rock and roll. This is getting too
Mariah
political.
Carey, that's rock and roll.
Yeah, what did you see that?
Oh, I did. That was
I
glorious.
don't want to watch it because
Oh, I watched it and I showed it to
I
my wife. I slowed it down. I was like John Madden with a telestrator.
no,
It was
because I
fantastic.
remember I used to shit on Milli Vanilli all the time. Like I used to make fun of those guys like fucking crazy. And when they had that, remember when the song kept going, baby, do you want whatever the fuck the tune was, or what was the tune? Uh, uh,
You're asking me to quote Milli Vanilli.
I know, but it was one of their famous ones where they
I
goes,
want to rock and roll
baby,
all night, party every
baby.
day. I
No,
don't
it
do
was the
blame it on
baby.
the rain.
I don't know, it was something baby, but it just kept
Blame
going,
it on
baby,
the
baby,
rain.
baby. Yeah, you know this shit. So he's sitting there going, baby, baby, and it just kept going like that, and he's just walking around. And I used to make fun of them all the time, like just shit on them, and I felt so bad. I did because I go, fuck, like that. It's over. Their career is over. And people have been doing this. Bands have been doing this. Rock bands don't do this. Rock bands, see,
Rock
Priest.
bands do that. Come on,
No,
let's.
a Priest would never do that. You know.
I'm not sure about Priest, but Motley Crue The End tour was, from all reports, 95% piped in and 5% live. And in fact, I know for a fact that the Tommy Lee, not guitar, piano on Home Sweet Home is a tape that they're running. I know for a fact that the backup girls that they have on stage aren't singing a lick. It's all backed in vocals. I know that all the backing vocals are
Oh,
triggered.
that's
Uh,
shit, man. Now, what's the point of seeing a live band?
yeah, you know, Queensryche back in the days of Jeff Tate. I don't know now, but back in the days of Jeff Tate, were running tape.
Now,
Def Leppard.
the big excuse was that they wanted it to sound good, because there's that famous. You would know who he is, the guy who does the vocals. I believe he's from Montreal. Philippe. What the hell? He does. He's
Andre Philippe Gagnon.
Yeah, he's amazing, and he does. He goes, all right. Do you want me to do the Rolling Stones that you would hear on the radio, or do you want to hear them the Rolling Stones live? Because the band sounds different, and he hits them both. He does them perfectly. And the Stones don't tape their own shit. There's no way. Don't fucking tell me that. But I've always thought that is just such a ripoff. Like, I could see a tutti frutti group like Milli Vanilli doing it. I could see that, but seeing a rock band doing that would just be sacrilege. I just find that's bullshit. And their biggest excuse was, we want it to sound good.
Yeah,
Which
but it's not supposed to sound good. It's supposed to
no,
sound
it's
like a
supposed
rock
to.
show, and
Yeah,
rock shows are dirty. And you know, when I go to a rock show and I hear feedback and people cover their ears, my ears light up because I'm like, it's fucking live.
yeah, yeah,
Bravo.
yeah. I
You
like
know.
that.
But yeah, that's the dirty little secret of the industry. I've been to many shows, and I've been backstage many times, and there are racks of Pro Tools and computers, and it's not all live. You know, there's
But
a
if
lot
that's
of
see,
cheating.
but wouldn't, if you were a group and you were doing that? See, the thing, that the fear that I would have is the Mariah Carey Milli Vanilli thing is, if it were to
Well,
break
they're not
down.
lip sync. I mean, they're not lip syncing. It's called enhanced performance in a sense that, you know, you get a vocalist who at 20 was hitting high notes and can't hit them anymore.
Mhm.
You might just sort of add that to it. You know, you'll sing along to a track. I can send you some IEM mixes, in-ear monitor mixes that I have of different live bands, and you can hear them singing along to their own song, and it just adds a fullness to it. So they are performing live, but they're performing live, if you want, with a guide vocal or a guide whatever, so that they sort of stick to what the original sounds like.
Right. Yeah, I know. I don't know. But yeah, what happened? I couldn't watch it because I kind of feel bad for her. What happened? She just
Well, she copped out completely. I mean, she was completely unprofessional, and that's my opinion on it. They started the track, and she kept poking at her in-ear monitors and saying, her IEMs, and she said, I can't hear, I can't hear. There's no sound. And instead of just sort of like dancing around to it, or pretend singing. I mean, it's her bloody song. She should know the goddamn lyrics.
right.
And there were wedges. There's wedges. There's the monitors on the stage. She could at least have worked with that, and it,
She
it
just had
was
it. She freaked. She literally freaked.
she freaked, and then she just sort of starts talking, because they had the live mic on top of that, which was bizarre. That if you're going to lip sync, why would you have the live mic on? But she starts talking and saying, "Well, we didn't get a chance to sound check this," and it's like,
This is all
sound
live.
it.
Like, everybody could see her doing this.
Yeah, yeah. It was because it
Oh
was
man.
the New Year's Eve broadcast. So
Right.
right, and then she's like, "Well, I'll just sort of stand here and go through the motions," and it's like, why are you telling us this? I mean, if you're going to break the illusion, you had dancers, you had guys holding feathers.
Show your tits. I
You
mean,
know,
do something, man.
well, she was wearing an outfit that was letting her butt cheeks hang out, and that was,
Well,
ugh,
then I'm gonna watch
no,
that.
no merci,
Yeah.
you know. But she should have. A true professional covers it up.
Yeah.
You just get on with the show. You know you're lip syncing, so and of course the producers of the show didn't help too. They could see that it wasn't going well. They could have started cutting away and showing the dancers and not showing Mariah to sort of help save her. But
Right.
2 plus 2 made for a grand
Yeah,
disaster.
I heard she was like it was something on the news that she wants to sue the Dick Clark people for making her look like an idiot or something, and
But she made her
sabotaging. She
look like an
believes she's
idiot.
being sabotaged, and I'm
Yeah, I don't know if she's being sabotaged. Live shows, even when they running tape, crap happens. I was at a slaughter show, and they were running on a video screen behind pictures of the band, right?
right.
And at some point, the computer warning came up, said file not found or something, and that was what was on the screen. And the band noticed it. And did they say anything? No, they just kept fucking playing. So okay,
Yeah.
so their image wasn't behind them.
Do you remember the story of when Pete Townsend? Remember the Barbara O'Reilly tune with the violin?
Yeah.
They would play every concert. They would have a tape of that, and it never fucking worked. And he used to have a conniption about it. What was that? That was back in '77 or '78.
Yeah, and I mean, Queen ran a tape for Bohemian Rhapsody. So,
Yeah,
running tape. The best band that runs tape is Metallica, but they're very honest about it because they're not running tape during the song. They're running tape out like when they do the song one and they've got all the machine guns and stuff. They're running tape when they play the song either Blackened or Battery. There's an intro tape, that comes in, and that that it's tape because a lot of the times when they're running that tape, they'll actually be off stage taking a 30-second break, and then they'll get back to it. So
right.
but
Who
running
was
tape.
remember it was on Saturday Night Live, which is not a live show, but I never understood. Remember the girl, Britney Spears' sister, and she
Oh,
there was
was it Britney Spears' sister? No, wasn't it a Simpson?
yeah, it was a Simpson. Yeah, that's right, Ashley Simpson.
Ashley Simpson? Yeah, that was glorious as well.
But here's the thing: it's the show's not live. They could have. It's pre-taped. Everybody thinks it's live. It's not. It's fucking pre-taped, man. Like it's taped that night. Maybe they could have fixed it. I don't know. It was just
But
to me. It was kind
that
of
the funny
weird.
thing is when Ashley Simpson had that, the East Coast feed got it, but the West Coast feed they edited out with what's her name that we were just talking about?
Mariah.
Mariah. There you go. God, a brain fart right there.
Now I want to look at it just to see her ass.
But Mariah, I didn't catch it live. I started hearing about it through tweets and Facebook, so I taped the West Coast feed, and I thought, well, they're going to cut it out. They didn't cut it out. They they replayed it 3 hours later. It was glorious. Um, you know, so I can understand why she might be upset about that because the East Coast people saw it, but they could have nipped and tucked it for the
Yeah,
Midwest and
and
the and
y-
you know.
we live in a wonderful time where anything you say, I mean, if the feelings that you have, if you watch something and if you're dumb enough like me to go on Twitter and letting your feelings know, what a few people will sit there and go, will disagree or have a laugh about it, but it's hilarious when other bands or singers will tweet about another person's performance. Do you ever get a kick out of that, where it's just like, oh shit, I can't believe he said
Well,
that
well,
about
I
such and
do.
such.
I do, and I get a perverse pleasure out of it because
Yeah,
some
me
of the
too.
people that are tweeting, some of the people that I follow, I know, and I know their gig, more than the average person. And so when I see somebody tweet out going, "How dare you lip sync, Mariah?" and I'm going, "Really?
Yeah,
You're saying that? You?" Like I could understand if you were like Cheap Trick, that is as live can be, but your tweet, give me a fucking break. And I start laughing at the insaneness of dummy who's calling a kettle black, and it's like, wow, the ball's on you, my friend. But
hmm
of course, you have that urge to tweet back, going, come on, buddy, we know you're running tape, but you can't. So,
right, right.
but I don't get a kick of the fact that a rock star is doing it. I get a kick at that rock star is doing it. And it's like,
Yeah,
come
yeah.
on, my friend, be a little nicer than that.
What was? Yeah, and also I was
Is
gonna
it
ask you.
raining by your place, by the way?
Yeah, it's been shit all morning here. It's
Because
been
I'm
absolutely
hearing I'm
shit.
hearing some torrential downpour going on.
Yeah, it's been absolutely brutal here. Like, I mean, yeah, it is. It's just, yeah. Well, yeah. No, I think somebody's having a shower actually. No, it's both.
Is it
It's a.
Mariah?
I wish. You know, I would nail her so hard. I really would, just to say I did. What
Yeah,
was I was gonna tell you about the. What do you think about all the stars that are passing away? All the George Michael just passed away. That was a big shocker. I had no idea that happened.
well,
Uh,
what I find more interesting in that is the people who take to Twitter and Facebook and go, "Bad 2016, please stop," as if they were a person or as if they were an entity that you could actually talk to. They're talking to 2016, this fictitious number, as some kind of person that can reason with them. Yes, of course I'll stop. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to take
no,
George.
it's like
How
like
dare
2016 is pure evil. No, I'm getting everybody. Fuck that. I am
Yeah,
getting everybody.
but 2016 wasn't more evil than any other year. I mean, what's the statistic? Somebody dies every second, every 3 seconds, somebody's dying in the world. I mean, come on. And listen, as we get older and older and older, all the people that we grew up with, I mean, eventually we're going to be sitting here and going, "What? John Bon Jovi passed away today? What? Peter. I mean, Peter Criss is of Kiss is what 73 or 70. It's like it's coming, folks, and I don't hope it to anybody, but even you and me, I think we're down to our last like 25 years on
No,
Earth.
I got a good 4 years. I got that feeling of just saying I don't want to go. Uh, what a morbid
Boots
show, eh?
on and
I don't
right.
want to go like fucking slowly. I would just want to, just have a stroke. I love John Candy. It's weird. I talked to a few people and they're like, John who? And I'm like, you know who fucking John Candy was, you idiot? Like, it just blows my mind. And just in your sleep. That's what I want. I want, just to go.
Yeah,
Not,
in
not,
your
s-
sleep, or if there's going to be some kind of accident, if you're going to go to a mall and their furnace is going to blow up, I want to be right next to it when it blows up because I don't want to be the guy that has debris in the leg and can't walk for 20 years. It's just
Yeah,
like,
I
well,
know.
we're
That's
going
the
to
one.
go.
Yeah, that's the
Let's
one I
go.
hate. I had a dream last night. It was really, really weird that I was hanging out with Penn Jillette and Teller, and we were in a house in Florida, and there was this storm, and it destroyed my bike. But it was cool because they called in a bunch of escorts, and I was screwing this escort, and I wanted to screw her friend, and I was like, I went and grabbed her friend. Her friend wouldn't like didn't want to screw me, and I'm like, why? And she's like, look, and there was this fucking giant boil on my dick, and I was like, what? What? Like this is awful. I'm like, just let me stick it back in the other one, and she ran away because I had this weird looking boil. Does that mean anything?
Well, it means you need to get out to a doctor and have that boil checked. That's what I'm suggesting right there.
Yeah. And it's just like, how does my dreams know that I got a fucked up dick? You know? That's what bothers me the most. But
And yeah,
no, but with you got to admit though, this year with Bowie going, fucking Lemmy, uh,
Lemmy was 2015. Lemmy was
yeah, but he
2015.
he passed away. It was close to Christmas.
True, but I love the fact that people are putting up, and I'm sure everybody's seen it. This meme or this picture of
Yeah, all
the
the people
people
that
we
have
lost in
passed.
2015. And front row, there's Lemmy, and right underneath his feet, it's written Brexit, and it's like, no, no, Lemmy died in 2015, and Brexit actually didn't die. It was born in 2016. You stupid dumb fucks. Get your fucking picture right. Like, how can you screw that up?
Hmm.
But yeah, listen, he died December 28th, but that's 2016, friends. Um,
Yeah, yeah,
2015, I should say.
yeah, yeah.
So,
But it's
it goes,
still, yeah, I know, but it sucks. It really does. I get it that everybody's getting old, but it still takes the sting out of. Uh,
the one everybody miss is that it was either the 30th or the 31st of December, Father Mulcahy of MASH died.
yeah,
I
I
mean,
know.
come on. How did nobody spread that all over the internet?
No, I know he was a sweetheart. That guy on the
And
show.
the
I
the
love
guy
that
who
show.
invented the red Solo cups, those party cups, he died in the last week of December. I mean, come on. That guy has had more impact on most of us than
What cups?
You know those red Solo cups, those red plastic cups, those tumblers that everybody puts beers and
Oh
drinks
yeah,
in.
yeah, yeah.
The guy who invented that, and God knows how a cup is invented. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
what the fuck is that? Like who? Like,
a cup.
yeah, I'm
I
gonna
think
invent
cups were
a blue
invented.
cup. Or anybody want a
Yeah,
blue cup?
yeah. Like,
But is that
hello.
is that the thing though that you think that everybody kind of? I mean, you're gonna be remembered for the interviews that you've done and people that you've talked to. That's kind of a legacy that you have. I, of course, people will look back and go, they'll start a rumor about my penis having a
Yeah,
horrible
well, think
boil
about
on
that.
it. He was a good man, but had a horrible boil. Um, is that kind of like, yeah, you're saying everybody, people are gonna croak. Um, everybody
But
kind of wants a
happy New Year,
legacy. Everybody kind of wants, that, everybody, you want that legacy. You don't just want to go.
well, I think that's what Facebook and YouTube and all that has become. Is we've all sort of been able to leave our mark. That after you die, your Facebook profile will linger there, and after you die, your YouTube videos will stay uploaded. It seems to be what we all want to gain some kind of immortality through social media.
Right.
You know, it's
Yeah.
strange. We didn't have this in the 60s and 70s and
80s.
80s, and I'm very, very happy that
No, I
we
know.
had
To
social
me,
media in the 80s,
but to
because
me,
I
it
would
doesn't it
not want
seem
to live
like
my.
kind of like it's a kind of a show off thing. Like I always see people
Oh,
put
it's
stuff
totally a show off thing.
about like they'll go on a trip, and I'm like, that's a great way. Tell people when to rob you. Hey,
Yes,
I'm going on a trip.
yes. I
Hey,
would
my
post
kid
those
goes.
pictures after,
I
when you
I,
get home.
I
I'm
never.
home from from Bahamas. Here's my picture. Not while.
Yeah, I
That's like
know.
saying, "Hey, listen, house is empty. Have at it.
No, I
Go
know.
go."
The one guy's putting up his fucking $1 million home that he's building, and it's just like, oh God, like shut
Now,
up. I don't
this
want to see that.
Facebook has exposed mental illness on a level that you have never seen before.
How many times I've done this where I've gone and looked. There was like girls will always put the best picture of themselves up, and then you go and see them, and they look nothing like the picture that they have on Facebook.
Yeah, yeah. You look at it and you go, "Oh, that was from 1985. What the fuck? What are you
Yeah, like
doing?"
you're like you are
I
rough
love
looking.
people who rant aimlessly. They're like, I saw a couple recently. Guy posted a picture of a car that was in front of him, and he goes, "Dear dumb fuck, you've been flashing that you're turning left for 3 miles. You can stop now." And it's like, well, who is this for? The guy in front of you is not going to read it, and the rest of us don't care.
Yeah, I
Like,
know. Yeah,
and
to me.
saw
I
yeah,
see these guys on Twitter, and or on Facebook, which they always
Facebook is
get pissed off when I take them off because I don't care, Mitch. Like I love the stuff that you put
posted.
on. I'm interested in the stuff that you put on, but when you put stupid stuff about uh, uh Muslims or the end of the world, it's like I don't give a fuck any. It's like it's like talking about death for 3 hours. Let's talk about something else because it's just I don't
Yeah,
care.
death is coming to all of us. So just get over it and
But
get on with it.
but
But
it's like
I had a guy the other day. He posted a picture of a parking ticket, and he goes, "Thank you, City of Ottawa,
yeah,
for
like who
this." And
gives
it's
a
like,
yeah, like
and
okay,
it's like, well,
good.
but for the fact you parked like a dumb fuck, you wouldn't
Yeah,
have a ticket.
yeah.
So you just
No,
told the world
but
you're a dumb fuck.
you
Way
know
to
what's
go.
funny? I'll see these guys on Twitter, and I notice that these guys wouldn't have anybody to talk to. Like it's just they would have maybe their wife or if they were lucky a friend. And on Twitter, if they find something that somebody else likes, they'll rant about that forever, you know, and they'll put up constant pictures of something, stupid, and they'll rant about that. Like it's like no one gives a shit about again a parking ticket, how much you paid for gas. I hate people that take pictures of their fucking meal and put it up there. Like I give a shit. It's
Oh,
like
that's great.
you know,
You know, this summer I was out with, not out, but I took the guys from Tesla around Quebec City and stuff, and I had some great pictures of us here and us there, and I decided to just for the shits and giggles on my Facebook, just posted pictures of what we were eating for lunch, which was a hamburger and a salad. And people are like, "What the hell are you doing?" I'm
Right.
like, "Well, everybody does this, can't I?" It's such a stupid thing.
It's beyond
So
stupid. I've
there's
done
a
it.
guy the other day.
I
He
did it.
posted a picture of
I
a
did it
beer and
once.
turkey soup.
Yeah, I did it once, and I did it because it was a giant steak, right?
Right.
And I just thought afterwards, I thought this makes me look like a fucking loser. You know, I'm like,
Yes.
who cares? Like, I was, it was a really expensive restaurant, but it's
Yes.
like I have to show off that I'm at this expensive restaurant so people will think that I'm successful, you know?
Yeah.
And it's just fucking stupid. I just felt like such a shill about it. Like, I was just like, yeah, then after this, I'm going to go to McDonald's and, you know, why not take a picture of fucking McDonald's or what I really eat, you know? Yeah, you feel like we live in a time where you have to show off. You kind of
Yeah,
have
but pick
to.
the stuff to show off about. I mean, yeah, listen,
My mind boiled. I'm
this
going to take a
morning
picture
there
of
was
that
a
baby.
picture that scrolled on my timeline of a guy who took a picture of turkey soup and a beer, and he goes, "Oh, I'm having turkey soup and a beer," and it's like, Yeah,
Yeah, I know.
and
Yeah, I know. And the one guy puts up.
yeah,
He's like watching the game, and he puts up. And I, as soon as they do that, I defriend them. I defriend, and they get pissed off at me. They're like, Why'd you take me off?" And I'm like, you're eating enchiladas and watching the game. I don't care. You know, I
now we've insulted half our fan base now.
yeah,
That's what's
I don't have a fan base. Most people fucking hate me, and there's a good reason. I have a
yeah,
boil on my penis.
I know that's disturbing.
It, it wasn't that a
I
weird
was
dream
actually
like
gonna
I
hang up when you mentioned it. Quite frankly,
like
it was
yeah, I
quite.
know. It's just to me that's just, and I'm a germaphobe. People that know me know I'm a big germaphobe. So that was kind of weird, like how I stuck it in that broad without even a condom. But I'm with Sam Kinison. People that can't remember Sam Kinison,
It
it's
wasn't Sam Kinison. It
no
was
Sam
Penn
Kinison
Teller. You
was
said
no Sam Kinison had the best line ever. He goes, why are
no,
you
no,
why are
but you
you
were
fucking the pussy if you know if you're wearing a condom, you should you know it's like now you made me forget what he said. He when you if you don't trust the pussy, don't fuck the pussy, right? That's the line. If you don't trust the pussy, why are you fucking the pussy? Meaning,
that's perhaps the only funny thing he ever said.
no, I love Sam Kinison. I
Oh, I
absolutely
hate him with a passion. I think
why?
he's awful. Well, no, you know what? Let me rephrase that. He has his place, and I can understand why people like him. I just don't like that kind of comedy. I just where he was just sort of screaming and ranting aimlessly.
Oh, it was
It
good.
didn't appeal to me. I was more, or I like a good stand up. I've always enjoyed, though of course I like Lewis Black who rants too. But Richard Pryor, Eddie Murphy, Chris Rock. I'm trying to think.
Vito D'Amico.
Vita Domingo, yeah, yeah. Hopefully, you'll play the Just for Laughs Comedy Festival someday and invite me out.
Yeah, that don't hold your breath. Um,
I like Jimmy Carr from England. I guess he's from England, right?
yeah, but you know the thing is with
I love
Kinnison,
Jimmy Carr.
listen to what I'll send you. You know what? I'll just send you a quick little 5 minute.
Emo Phillips, come on,
I'll just send
Emo
you. Nah,
Phillips,
emo's
Stephen
good too,
Wright,
but I'll
Stephen Wright.
send you a little snippet and just listen to it, and I
I just
guarantee you
am
you'll
not.
laugh your fucking brains out. He's great. I think the screaming part, that's what got me. It was just when he would lose it. It was just an emotion of just everybody wants to scream, and you can't scream like that in public. You can't scream, even though you want to, you know? So I'll send you this little thing, and I guarantee you you'll turn around and
Yeah,
say,
I
you know
tell you
what?
what.
He's
There
good.
is one thing that he had that was really funny. Um, it's when he was talking about, I guess, back in the late '80s, we had Band Aid and
Yeah,
Northern
yeah, that
Lights
one.
and all
That's the
these
one I was going to send
Eastern
you.
Africa, and he
don't,
talks
don't,
about
don't send him any more money. Send him Winnebagos.
get him to move.
Yeah,
Like
go where the fucking food's at.
he's
You
like
live in a
that.
desert. That's one of my favorite bits. You live in a fucking desert. Oh, I love
Right.
it.
There's a reason there's no food. It's a desert for. Okay, I'll give you that one. That one is hilarious. That one's really good.
God, you got
That
to see
that's
the one where he does the true story about getting set up by his ex-wife. She put a gun. It's a true story. She put a gun in his luggage. It was fucking hilarious, and it's a true story. But he was also a big. He used to hang out with Bon Jovi. He used to hang out with big bands. in the 80s. He was a big rock and roll guy. He loved to party with.
Yeah, but that version of Wild Thing is awful.
Yeah, it is. But you see, he did a lot of coke, right? And I interviewed Seika, who was his porn star.
I met Seika.
I had sex with Seika. No, I didn't, but
You know where I
with
met
my little
Seika?
boil.
This is great. I was at a Chicago Cubs game in Chicago,
Oh, she's a
and
big
the ball game
baseball. Yeah.
ended, and she was wearing this outfit, and I was 15 or 16 at the time, and all these guys as she was walking out start going, "Hey, Seika, Seika!" And
What'd she look like?
she was gorgeous. She
Yeah, I
she
know.
was wearing this tight-fitting black top and these white pants. I guess they were jeans that were just molded on,
Yeah.
and it was stunning. And so, we all walked out of the stadium, and I ended up standing on the street next to her, and I just said, "Hey, hello,
How
how are you?"
much? Did you say
Yeah,
like
how
how much?
much? And it was just this really surreal experience because, listen, at 15, 16,
We've all seen her movies, yeah.
we had all seen her movies accidentally when you walked into your brother's room. Um, and so I got to meet Seika. She was like sort of like the second famous star I had gotten to meet. It was quite the moment, and the guys, they were just screaming at her, "Hey, baby, bring your,"
Yeah,
it's just
yeah.
like, "Huh?"
Yeah, it's really weird. I got to interview her for well over an hour, and she was so sweet, so kind. And I was talking to her, and I must have jerked off, fuck, maybe 1,000 times to her. And it was a surreal moment. She was so nice, and she was constant. You're very funny, she would say, and that just meant the world to me. And to tell you the truth, once I was done talking to her, I jerked off again. I was like, fuck, she's just what a babe, what a babe. Um, and
I
it,
also got to meet Ron Jeremy one time,
oh,
and
everybody met Ron. That's nothing new. I know Ron right now. I'll meet him at the gas station. That fucking guy's all over the. He is that guy is stuck. He should have a boil on his penis for fuck's sakes. Good
but you
grief.
got to get this though. I was at a Leaf Garrett show in California at the oh, I forget the name of the venue. I know I can picture it, but he was doing a band. I think it was called F8 featuring Leaf Garrett, and so I'm backstage with the guys from Pretty Boy Floyd, or one of the guys from Pretty Boy Floyd,
Hmm.
Leaf Garrett and Ron Jeremy. Now talk about a power trio couple, whatever you want to call it. What a night that was.
And Leaf, how did he look?
He looked great, and I was sitting on the trailer with him because they had a trailer behind this place, the Key Club. It was called the Key Club,
Right.
and the behind the music had just come out about how he felt so bad about having drugs, and he had
The
this
accident.
accident
Yeah.
that had hurt this kid, and he was so um boy, I got to be diplomatic. He was just making fun of the whole thing. He was smoking up back there and drinking, and he's going, "Oh man," and I sold him this sob story and blah blah blah. Boy,
What
would
a
they be
dick.
disappointed. Yeah, it was something. I
Mitch,
mean,
you want to go for a ride?
yeah, let's do a recreation. But it was, yeah, I guess it was sort of a dick move. I don't want to call him out more than I just did, but he was basically living a the party life and just talking about, oh, he got everybody duped on that show, and yeah,
Jeez.
that was and it's funny because I knew this girl at the time. God, I must have been 26, 27. Anyway, I knew this girl who was, she's like, oh, he's my teen idol. Oh my God, you met him. And oh, he's so wonderful. Oh, and then she started telling me all these stories that I really didn't care about how, posters on the wall and t-shirts and blah, 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 buttons and all. I bought Tiger Beat magazine when he was on the cover. And I was just the whole time listening to these stories going, oh, if only you knew. If
Exactly.
only you knew.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to tell her the story. I mean, like,
Yeah, you
let
don't
the
want to.
girl
You
let
don't
the
want to.
girl have her fantasy,
Yeah.
but it's just like, oh, if you knew that night on that trailer how he was making fun of that show, and how he duped all the people at VH1 and all the viewers. Oh, you would not be sitting here telling me how you had, Leaf Garrett cooking mitts,
Yeah,
oven
yeah,
mitts.
yeah. And there's the thing. Like I guarantee you, like with that type of fame, he'd be like porking her like in 2 seconds. Like she would just there was I was watching it was a great little documentary about rock bands. It was like guys were bringing like their girlfriends. What a dream! Like I remember as a kid watching, going, I got to get in a band. I can't play a lick, and it was like just getting laid constantly. And it's like, what do you think those girls are doing in the trailer with the rock star? You know, it was that fame.
I know.
Yeah, it's like there was that famous scene in Rockstar movie where they, I don't know, somebody said that they were trying to show Judas Priest at the height of their fame, and there was like a lineup of chicks, just, and I'm thinking, fuck, man, like that's just like I would not want.
Little did they know that had no effect on Rob.
Yeah, Rob, exactly. It was more chicks. See, I'd want more gay guys in my band just to get more vagina. Like, because the girl would be like, yeah, I want Rob. And it'd be like, trust me, Rob does not want you. And,
I was on a bus. I'm not going to tell you what artist it is, but it is a million selling album band, 30-year career. And I was sitting on the bus, and the door would knock, and of course the girls outside, and, well, can we come on? And the singer said, you tell them that they show you your tits, and if they look good and firm, they're on. If they're, empty milk jugs, tell them to go away. The band's not here. And so that's what they did all night. Now, I didn't do the inspection, but girls would knock, and they would lift up their top, and if it looked like nice firm boobies, in they came. And there was another band that I had. They have all access passes and stuff, and they would call them, they're AA passes, and they would call them PP passes, P&P. And I would go, well, what are they for? And it goes, well, it's a pussy pass. And they handed me a stack of PP passes and said, go out front. And it was like, the singer likes, the model types that have no fat. This guy likes the one that looks like whores. This likes and I would walk around and try to scout and find people that fit that description. And I remember one day in Hartford, backstage, and at the end of the night, they go, Mitch, you did a good job. You really got exactly what the guys like.
Yeah,
like,
you should work for the band.
Right.
I would have put them all on the chicks, on like anybody in wheelchairs, guys. I would,
What do you call them? Those Bangkok boys, the Thailand
yeah,
boys.
yeah.
What are they?
One of the funny.
They have a special name. Those.
Yeah, he, she's.
Yeah. But they have a, like, the Thai boy, a lady boy, Thai lady boy.
Lady boy. I'm a lady boy.
Yeah. Lady boy.
Get him a couple lady boys. Which,
Yeah.
it'd be funny. The next day they're like, that was awesome. That that would be.
Yeah, my days of handing out passes, though, would have come to a very, very abrupt
That's
end.
great though. That's kind of like, who was it? Van Halen. He had was it with David Lee Roth had a kind of a structure where he'd tell the guys exactly where to go. That's got to be awesome. Like, think about that. Like, you're on stage going, I want to pork her, this girl over here, I'm going to sing a tune, and I'm going to signal you to get that girl over there, and then, like, what?
Yeah.
Fuck, talk about
Unfortunately, most
talent.
of those days are over, though. Now the guys are like, listen, when the show's over, would you mind getting me a Starbucks? I could really use a
I know,
Starbucks.
it's
'cause
just,
I get chilly out there.
yeah, and they bring their wives. Now they bring their wives and their kids, and it's just weird. Like, it's the debauchery is just like, I saw a thing. I saw a thing with was it Beastie Boys? They would their back room, they had like their crazy room was full of cheeses from all over the world. And I'm thinking, what the fuck is going on, man? Where's the crack? Where's the crack whores? Where's the the drugs, man? Like, none of that. It's
all
done.
gone. It's all gone. Everybody says, hey, Mitch, can I go backstage now? And it's like, really? You want to see like some catering dishes and some
Yeah.
lamb that's drying to the bone because nobody's eating it? No, sure, come on back. Come and enjoy some, drying out catering. But that's, of course, when you get catering. Like when Twisted Sister last summer, where they gave them 5 bags of chips. That's that famous story that went all over the place.
No, I didn't know that. What story? I was going to say something about the Twisted Sister where he gave one of the funniest rock stories was when he was doing, it was at the height of their fame, and he was telling this wonderful story of how there was one section that would not stand up, and he kept yelling, "Stand up!" And then he put the lights. He said, "Put the lights on these fucking idiots," and they wouldn't stand. And he got everybody in the concert to yell, "Stand up, stand up!" And they wouldn't stand up. And then he goes in the back room, and his manager comes in and goes, "What the fuck is your problem?" And he's like, "What? What?" And he goes, "That section was for people in wheelchairs, you idiot." And I just thought that was the
handicap section, dummy.
Yeah, that was like the funniest story. I like it was just so well done. And tell me about this Twisted Sister about the chips. I didn't know that.
Well, yeah, all right. Let me be diplomatic on this one too. But I was at a festival last summer, and I ride in with the band's crew, and we get to this festival, and okay, let me start from the beginning, because so we get to the check-in, the band check-in, and they hand us 6 passes, and we look at them and go, we're 19, and they said, well, it's 5 guys in the band plus a manager, right? And we're like, well, no, it's the entire, we need the guy to do the drum tech and guitar, and they're like, oh, well, we don't have them on the list, and we're like,
what the fuck is this? The first time they?
Oh no, this festival has been running for 11 years now. So I go, okay, so I make a couple of calls and try to get extra passes, and in the meantime we said, okay, well, show us to our dressing room. So we go to the dressing room, and we're right next to the band Korn and Blink 182. And the room is literally like 8 by 8, maybe 10 by 10 if we're trying to exaggerate, but it's this tiny little, it's like a closet that they had cleaned out. And there's 2 tables, and there's a tablecloth, and one of the tables has absolutely nothing on it, and the other one has, from the festival, here's your catering kind of thing. And it was 6 bottles of room temperature water, 5 bags of, and I kid you not, Halloween size chips. Right? And
sounds like one of my gigs. This is awesome.
5 or 6 Halloween-sized candy bars, and we look at this and we go,
whose mother put this together?
We're like, what the fuck is this crap? And so, sorry, we look at each other, and we go to the guys that are in Korn's crew next door, and we go, did you? And they go, nah. And they were bitching and moaning because their rider had called for 2 rooms, and they had a little tiny 8 by 10 room. So most of the guys set up in the hallway, and it was like, that's great. And so we call the lady in, and of course she speaks only French, no English. You're running a festival with American bands and British bands and bands from all over the world, and nobody speaks English, which is brilliant. And we say, well, she goes, "Oh, you never sent it to us, your rider." And we went, "Well, yes," and pull out the sheet and go, "Here it is." Yeah. And the rider was nothing, it wasn't caviar and champagne.
Nothing
it was
special, yeah.
It was 6 Gatorade bottles, 6 coconut waters, potato salad. I mean, it was really as basic could have it. And she said, "Oh, we're going to get it sent to you. Don't worry. We'll figure this out." And we go, "Okay, well, we're just going to head over to the stage, and see what that's like. Send the catering to the stage later." And we say, "Okay, well, where are the bathrooms? We want to go to the bathroom before we head out to the stage." The bathrooms were down 4 flights of stairs, down 8 corridors to the left. And we're like, the bands don't have bathrooms? We have to, what? So we said, fuck this.
What were you guys playing? Sing Sing? Like what, Kingston Penitentiary? What the fuck is going on?
It pretty much sounds like it, but you can look this up. Just look up Twisted Sister Quebec 2016. You'll see. Anyway, so we head to the stage, and or we try to head to the stage. So we call up, you'll have to be golf carted out. So they call us the golf cart, and the guy shows up, not with a can of beer in his hand, but a king size King Can sized beer in his hand. And we look at this guy and go, "You're driving? You've been drinking?" He goes, "It's all right. It's only a golf cart." And it's like,
Oh
oh.
man.
So the festival has people driving you around in a cart that are drinking. That is that is stunningly wonderful. So he drives us up and down these hills through like forest and gets to the side of the water.
Sounds like a Lord of the Rings kind of.
And we get to the side of the water and we go, um, there's no stage here. He goes, no, you wait for the boat that takes you to the stage. I go,
What?
wait, boat? We wait for the boat. Oh, yes, of course. We wait for the boat. How silly of us
Did you
not
bring
to.
two coins to give the fucking Grim Reaper? Like what? Like what?
I know. Now, the funny part about this boat is that they have one boat ferrying people back and forth to this other shore, which is a 20-minute boat ride away. 20 minutes. And everybody and their sister is waiting for this boat. So photographers, web blog dudes, concession guys, the beer vendor. So we say, okay, well, we got to go, and we go towards the front of the line. And they go, no, you got to stand in the back with everybody else. And it's like, uh, no.
We're the fucking show. What do you do?
Band
Like,
people get to go for. So the guys from Korn, well, they're tour guys, not the band. They show up with their, driver and his King Can, and they stand in line and go, "We got to get to the stage." They go, "Oh no, you got to stand." And then this other band named Pussifer shows up, and their tour manager or whoever the guy was, big. I mean, Ronda Rousey would not have a chance against him, right? Big guy. And they say the same thing to him, and he goes, "No band, no show, no show. They don't work. We're going on now." And they go, "No, we call security if you." He goes, "We're going on now." And so they, guys like 6'6", 400 pounds, all muscle, no fat. They go, "Okay, you get to go on." And
twist
we're
my
standing
arm.
there going, we're going there. What? And he looks at us, and the corner guy goes, "They're coming too." And they go, "No, they're coming too." So we go on this boat, and of course the beer vendor and the web blog photographer, quote unquote, because they're really not photographers. "Hey, it's not fair. We've been waiting here a long time." It's like, shut the fuck up.
Oh,
No
man.
band, no sound check, no show, no pictures. So go fuck yourself.
Right.
And so then we get on this thing. We get on this boat, and we take this 20-minute ride, which, okay, granted, was absolutely beautiful. I mean, it's out on the lake, and it was a sunny day, so it was. And we land on a dock on the other side where everybody and his twin sister is docked. So we're like, "Are you telling me the bands have to walk through this crowd?" They're like, "Yeah, it's fine. They're fine. I do it all the time. They're used to it. They don't bother nobody." It's like,
Oh man.
no. And then you get to the other side and you get into the gate and you're right into the festival and you go, how do we get her? You go, "Oh, you just cut through the audience." Like,
Holy fuck! Is this guy
cut
like?
through the audience? What the fuck are you talking about? We're not gonna have, D. Snyder cut through an audience. Are you insane?
He won't make it to stage. Like,
He wouldn't make it to stage. Anyway, we get to the stage and they want to put the backdrop up, and they say, no, you can't put a backdrop. It slows down the switch over, the turnover. And it's like, anyway, the story goes on for another 10 minutes, but it was just
but they've done this for 12 years, or like,
Yeah.
like, this is so. But every year, has it been this
Everybody
bad?
knows it's a cluster. It's a clusterfuck every year.
So why do they do it? Is it good money? Because that's the only way I would do it. If it,
Money.
yeah, it had to be good money. Because there is no fucking way I'd want to deal with that shit.
Yeah, and I mean, and that's not even the tip of the iceberg. The story gets better and better, but anyway, eventually the show ends, and they cut off the band, by the way. But we get back to the hotel, and the people from Lamb of God are standing around, and they see us walk off this bus looking like, we had just been beaten. And they look at us and they go, "Festival, huh?" And we went, yeah, that's the festival. He goes,
And Lamb of God was there?
Lamb of God was there. And they go, and we go, "Why are you guys here if you know about it?" They go, "It's the money. It's the money's too good." And these were the crew guys, not the band.
All
He
right.
goes, "The money's too good." He goes, "We know it's a shit show every year, but we get as much in that one show than like 6 festivals in the States."
That's
And we're like
incredible, man.
"Uh-huh. Yeah, oh yeah, it's a complete another shit show." Anyway, if you if you sort of Google Mitch Lafon, Twisted Sister, Quebec, and all that, you will see my famous catering picture posted everywhere. You will see the blog that the other crew member wrote about. At the time that it happened in June, it ended up being the third highest tweeting or retrending thing on Twitter.
But what I don't get is if that they run a festival like that, you could run the festival however you want. But I'm just surprised that nobody's ever fixed that and said, like, we pay this much. Why not fucking make it better for the guys and just people, I mean, we just
Well, I think there's a lot of
a
reasons why they
happy
don't make
artist
it
is
better.
you put on a great show. If the guy's happy, he puts on a good show. If he's in a fucking shitty mood, he's not going to put on that great of a show.
Well, I think there's a lot of things going on. First of all, the physical location of where they've set up this stage makes it impossible to have anything direct because they put it on the side of a lake, and there's just it's sort of there's just it doesn't touch anything. So you sort of have to do the boat thing, and you can't really bring in more gear because it would all be stuck in the water, and you
Right.
can't have you know um, and most bands are unfortunately used to getting screwed over on catering. I've seen a lot of festivals in my lifetime, and you've got Evenco in Montreal that runs it like it's a royal affair where everything's set out beautifully and wonderfully, but that is the exception.
Right.
9 out of 10 run it like it's a shit show. You know, and
That's
so I guess they just sort of shrug and go, "Oh well, here we are, cold pizza again. What are you gonna do?" You
yeah.
know,
Well, it's just I don't know. I
and the
don't get that.
money, the money's good.
Yeah. It's always the
Uh,
money. I was
when
gonna.
you're a band that's used to getting a low five-figure quote and you're playing a set that's, an hour and you're getting a six-figure quote, you go, all right, well, I'll take the extra,
Right.
X's and O's and I'll buy my own fucking pizza later on.
Right.
You know,
Now, do you have any? Um, Now I've had this, and I'm not going to say the artist, but where I've had to go somewhere where the guy said to me, he goes, "We got to go pick up some drugs. Do you know where there's some drugs?" And I said, I know where we get some drugs." And he said, "No, no, I know a better place. This is a." So it's like, all right. He goes, "Do you mind if we go?" And I can't say who it is because So we end up going, and it's in my car. And I thought he was just going to run in and get some drugs and come back in the car, and we'd head off to the show. And he ends up bringing back a trash can, and he says, "Open the trunk." And I'm like, okay. Like I thought, fuck, do we got a body in there? Like what? And he goes, "No, it's just weed." And there was enough weed in there. I was like, dude, I could be doing time for 20 fucking years. I get caught with this shit. And he's like, yeah, I know. So let's not get caught. So just let's get to where we need to go. And we needed to go drive to another place because he needed to make some money. And he was going to make a lot of money. And, anyways, it was the most nerve wracking drives of my life where I've never seen so many cops. I had a cop pull up behind me, and I mean, the guy looks like fucking, Ozzy. My hair looked like Ozzy Osbourne. Ozzy's armpit. He didn't look too good. And you're just nervous as fuck. And we finally get it done, and I was like, never ever again. Have you ever, you hang out with artists and some big names, and I'm sure you look at them, you think, these are, I don't want to rub these guys the wrong way. I'm a fan. I want to be good. But have you ever been put in a compromised position? You don't have to say the artist's name, but have you ever put in a where you just thought, shit, this is not good, but you do it because you're friends with the band.
Um, I've had a few bands, usually that come into Montreal and will say, "Where can you get, coke, or where can you?" And I've never done a drug in my entire life, so I have no idea. That's usually where the conversation ends. I go, "I have no clue,"
Right.
and that usually ends there. There was one artist who was married, and he was um, cheating with the lovely ladies on tour.
No.
A- Yeah, and he was like, "You're not going to tell the wife now. This is stays between us." That's as compromised as I've ever gotten. I go, you know what? It's not my life. It's not my fight. It's not my problem. Who am
Right.
I going to, I'm not going to post this on Facebook. Hey, so and so snooped a girl, but that's about it. And it was no disrespect to anybody. It's just at some point in life, you just got to decide: do I mind my own business, and speaking up is probably more destructive because they had kids and stuff, and it could have been, the kids that would end up suffering. So it's like, all right, it's
Yeah.
not, and who's to say that the wife wasn't at home while he was on tour doing the same thing? I don't know that for a fact, but could have been. So that's as against my sort of moral fiber as I've ever gotten. But the drug thing, really, I'm the wrong person. I don't drink alcohol. I don't do drugs. It's not a political thing. It's not a religious thing. It's just never been my gig. I like being in control of myself, at least.
Yeah. That.
So
Yeah. That's. Yeah.
I had a back injury in 2004, and they gave me Percocets, and I remember taking because I didn't know what the hell they were, and I remember taking one because the pain was so intense. I was literally bent into the shape of a V, and I remember seeing pink elephants and stuff, and I just remember thinking, "This is fucking awful. I don't like this feeling at all. I much preferred the pain than to be woozy and tripping out." So the pain ended up being more intense, and they said, "Well, we'll give you OxyContins." And I went, "That's not happening." They go, "You don't want that? You don't want the pain to go away?" I said, "We're going to find." So I ended up doing acupuncture. So, yeah, not my gig at all. But
Right.
yeah, I've been asked, where do you find Coke in Montreal? I don't know.
I don't know.
7-Eleven has Coke.
Yeah.
Oh, it's funny. This year in 2000, or last year, I should say, in 2016, I was in Toronto with a band and driving the guy around, and he says, "I need to stop at the pharmacy to get some pills." And I was like, "You? Pills?" Turns out he wanted Advil because he had a headache.
Right.
but for like 30 seconds, my brain went, "What?
Yeah.
You?
Yeah.
Not you?"
Okay.
But I was like,
Make
"Oh,
him
great,
feel
we're
like
gonna go."
shit with the Advil too. You're a man. Like, come on.
Actually,
You don't need this shit.
he ended up buying Motrin, but but I was like, "Uh-oh." Now I'm in Toronto driving
Doesn't it?
around
Does
going, "I
it?
got
But
to find a pharmacy for pills." Oh.
doesn't it amaze you that the amount of drugs they used to do, bands like, fuck, back then were just, the amount was just outrageous. Outrageous.
And then you wonder why in 2016 half of your artists are dying at 53, 54,
Mm-hmm.
60. Well, yeah, they wore out the ticker, my friend. I mean, when you snort cocaine for 30 years, your heart's probably not going to survive until 80. You know,
Hey, how
you know.
was meeting Lemmy? Was he like
Oh, Lemmy was great. I met him in Montreal. I actually got to drive him around. I was the runner on that show years and years ago. This is a great story, actually, which I don't think I've ever told, but I pick him up at the hotel, and the promoter, who doesn't exist anymore, had stuck him in sort of this dirt cheap, shitty motel far away from the city. So I pick him up, and it's the beginning of May or somewhere in May, and it was snowing, and it doesn't snow, and he's bitching and moaning the whole time. He goes, "What the fuck's this snow?" He goes, "I particularly booked this tour in May so that there would be no snow. Is there normally snow?" you know, and he's bitching and moaning about, "What the fuck is this snow?" So we're backstage at this club called the Medley, which doesn't exist. Le Medley, sorry, it was in Quebec. Le Medley, which doesn't exist anymore. And he had a pitcher of vodka in one hand, or a 40 ounce of vodka in one hand, and a 40 ounce of vodka in the other. And he's like, tell the promoter that I need more booze. And I'm like, for who? He goes, this is just getting me started. And I was like, yeah. And then Phil Campbell comes in, and he had 2 pitchers of margaritas. And I swear to God, Lemmy went through those 240s of vodka, went and did the show, and there was just nothing. I mean, he wasn't even, he didn't even have a buzz.
Jeez.
He just played, and the show goes on, and I'm standing on stage. Hold on, I'm trying to think here. I was on stage right, so to the left, I guess, if you're from the audience. And there was a little staircase that went down, and I'm standing there, and it leads into the kitchen of this venue. And the barricade breaks, and the fans start moving towards the stage, and Lemmy comes running off. Well, Lemmy doesn't run; he sort of saunters off,
Right.
and he's standing next to me with his bass in his hand, going, "You think they'll fix this? You think the show will be over?" I go, they'll fix it. He goes, "Hey, better, we're not done." Yeah. And Phil is going through the fucking 2 pitchers of margaritas, and he's not getting a buzz on. Anyway, they fix the thing, and they get back, and we go backstage, and it's funny. I have a picture of my friend with Lemmy and my friend with Mickey D and stuff, and I took no pictures. I was like, oh no, I have to be professional. I can't be taking pictures with like a fan. It's like, oh, you fucking idiot! Why
Yeah.
didn't you take a picture with them? But that was a great night. I mean, what a great story! I got to drive Lemmy around for a day. I've driven a bunch of people around.
Yeah. No, that is
It's
cool. That is so
yeah.
cool. I mean, where he started. I mean, he was a roadie for Hendrix, and then he just Hawkwind, and it just sucks that. Look at me getting all emotional. I'm just thinking about. Yeah, that would be awesome to do that. I mean, where I would sit there and to say I'm jealous. Yeah, I'm jealous. That would be awesome to have that. Even him bitching, I would love to. I'd get a kick out of him just bitching.
Yeah, but it was. I don't want to sound like he was in a bad. It was sort of like, you know,
Yeah, just talk like
random
yeah,
ranting to make conversation. I think. I don't think. I mean, he wasn't pissed off that it was snowing, but he was like, "Oh, it's cold. I told my agent not to book where there'd be snow." And
no,
just
that's
like, "Oh,
good though. I mean, I always feel obligated whenever I'm in a cab to talk to the cab driver. I just feel like a shithead if I don't say something. So, but I'm not saying you were a cab driver. It just seems like I guess he kind
well,
of
I mean, it
he
was sort
he
of was right. I
he
mean, that's
kind of yeah. But I think him in being around the business for so long, being the roadie, he knows what it was like. I mean, he did your job at one time in his life. I'm sure he drove around names, and he knows that it would be a kick if the star were to talk to anybody, you know. So I think that just there always was this niceness about him. Again, I've seen him in bitchy moods, which I don't know if he was really bitchy. It's just he was fucking 70 years old. Who isn't bitchy when they're 70? Um,
yeah. Here you
so
go. See, I'm reading a review from it. I just Googled it because that's what we do. It says. It's from April 28th in 2002, and it says the show started about an hour late due to the band getting in later than expected as they had to drive in a snowstorm from Toronto.
hmm how long
uh,
did you have him in the car for?
how long did I have him in the car
Yeah,
for? Probably 30 minutes to 45 minutes.
that is
Just
wicked.
me and him
That is great.
in a van. It was a van.
God, that is great. That really is fun. That'd be
So
awesome,
that was April 28th, 2002. Yeah,
man.
that's
You
that's
should have
a
taken a pic. You should have
I
taken
know.
a pic, man.
I know. I have a picture of me and Mickey D taken years later when trying to think it was like Lacuna oh it was I think it was like Lacuna Coil, Motorhead, and Megadeth in Montreal or something like
Right.
that.
Now, is Mickey D working with the Scorpions or something?
Joined the
He
Scorpions, my
joined the
friend.
Scorpions.
Joined the
What happened
Scorpions.
with, so what happened to their drummer?
Well, James Kotak, who is a friend, uh, entered rehab and took some time off the band, and he came back to the band, toured with them in was it 2015? I guess it was 2014. It didn't go as well as expected. He ended up back in rehab, and eventually they called in Mickey D to replace. I guess it must have been 2015 because Mickey D became available after Lemmy died, right?
Right.
So then, early 2016, went back into rehab, and they brought in Mickey, and they sort of said, you know what, we like this, and you know,
Yeah.
I don't blame them in a sense that Mickey D is no longer, or I can't say no longer, but is not a raging alcoholic. He's not a raging drug user. He's been in the business. He knows that how to show up on time, as professional as can be. Sounds like a monster playing the drums. And the Scorpions just celebrated their 50th anniversary. I don't think they want to deal with a guy in rehab. I don't think they want to deal with finding auditions for a new drummer.
Yeah.
Why would you not hire him? And listen, it doesn't hurt the marquee value that now you've got the guy from Motorhead and Scorpions. That's got to sell a ticket or two along the line,
Yeah,
right?
for
So
sure. Well,
you know,
a lot of Motorhead fans would go just to see that, just so they kind of have a
yeah, and the
like.
Scorpions have done two things that are smart too. At various shows, they've done a sort of a tribute to Lemmy where they've actually done a Motorhead song.
Yeah.
So you hear Klaus Meine and Rudolf Schenker pounding out a Motorhead song, which is sort of unique and special. And the drumming, Mickey D's drumming, is in your face drumming. So all of a sudden, these rocking Scorpion songs like The Zoo and Rock You Like a Hurricane and Big City Nights, they suddenly have this big bottom on it now. It just sound I don't want to say they sound metal, but they sound like
Yeah,
I'm gonna
yeah.
fucking
Yeah.
rock you like a hurricane, motherfucker.
Yeah, yeah.
And as a fan, you got to go, yep,
Good.
I'm down for that. I don't want to hear tappity tappity tap. I want to hear
Yeah,
and
yeah.
we're getting so there you go. So
And Mickey D can do that for sure.
yeah, so
What did you ever think of um have have you ever interviewed Van Halen?
I have interviewed Michael Anthony. I have interviewed Sammy Hagar. I have interviewed Gary Sharon. Shut up. He wasn't Van Halen.
No, I know. I thought he did a good job. He had a bad
You know,
it,
Gary didn't do anything wrong.
no,
The
he
album
didn't.
that they made had David Lee Roth sung on that album, had Gary, no, not Gary, had Sammy Hagar sung on that album, or had anybody else, fucking Elvis Presley sung on that album. It was a shit album because the material wasn't there. You look at the live performances that they did. Gary did a great job with them live. Period. End of
Yeah,
story.
I
Gary
know.
singing
He
"Jump,"
got a really bad rap for that. I felt bad for him.
and it was also the time. It was what, 96.
Mhm.
It doesn't matter if they had David Lee Roth and they had made an album that sounded like 1978. It was 1996. Nobody wanted to fucking hear those bands. It
Yeah,
was
I
all about
know.
Soundgarden, Pearl Jam, Nirvana, and all that other shit.
Yeah,
Even
I know.
Kiss, when they did Psycho Circus, had Psycho Circus been, Destroyer #2 with songs, people would have said this fucking sucks. It was a no-win situation.
I know.
Period. End story. Um, who else have I interviewed in Van Halen? Anybody else have I
I
interviewed?
was
No, I've
wondering
never.
if you ever
No,
talked to Eddie.
no,
He doesn't do interviews, eh?
no,
Yeah, it's
nope.
just that's the thing that I never understood with like I remember when Michael Anthony
But does he really need to? In
no,
a
he
sense,
doesn't.
it's
But
like
it's just
Axl Rose. I mean, when you're talking about Guns N' Roses, you don't need Axl to sell you some tchotchkes because it's Axl Rose and it's Guns N' Roses. Fans are gonna tune in anyway. You say
right.
Eddie Van Halen has a new album out, and whatever website or magazine says, "Hey, Eddie Van Halen," people are gonna go, "Oh, Eddie Van Halen." They're not gonna wait. Whereas other ones, they need to sell. They need to shake their booty to get people to pay attention.
Yeah.
Eddie and Alex, Eddie, Alex, and Axel. They don't need to do that. Ozzy doesn't really need to do that, quite frankly.
Right. But I always thought that Michael Anthony got a bum deal because there was a long time that Van Halen wasn't touring, wasn't doing anything, and he went and played on. He worked with Sammy and Chickenfoot, and he looked like he was always, the Van Halen banner. He was a proud Van Halen guy, and Eddie kind of took it the wrong way, and I just thought he was one of the nicest guys. I've watched millions of interviews with the guy. He just seemed like he never did anything malicious. He just did it because something to do, for fuck's sakes. He's a bassist, and he was the bassist for Van Halen. Yeah, I always thought he got a bum deal about that. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, two things. First of all, I think he got a bum deal too, but the other thing is we don't know what happened in the back room. Maybe maybe he cheated on somebody's wife. Maybe he did something crazy. I don't know, but he deserves to be in Van Halen, and I'm pretty sure that in 2017 you will see him in Van Halen again. Everything I'm hearing indicates that. So
I hope that'd be
we'll
awesome.
see. We'll see.
Do you think, like, do you remember the Sammy and Dave tour? How fucking horrible
I saw that
went.
tour.
Didn't that they just could not stand each other? How? I mean, it would be cool because I've never seen a band that Sammy did a great job with Van Halen, and they don't play any of the tunes that Sammy did, and I just think, what a waste. I mean, there was a catalog of wonderful tunes that Sammy did that they're not playing.
But that's David Lee Ross's fault. From everything I've understood, he refuses to sing those songs,
because he can't. I mean, the Sammy.
But you don't have to sing them the same way. You can do all kinds of stuff. You can vocalize it in the way that you make the song your own. You can down tune. You can speed up. It wouldn't sound like
when Sammy used to do Jump, right?
Right, or Panama.
Yeah.
It didn't sound like that version. It sounded like Sammy's version, and that's perfectly fine.
Yeah, I don't get why. I wish they do it.
Well, I think it's an ego thing with Dave.
That's sad. I mean, fuck. I mean,
but who knows? I have a feeling that in 2017, 18, we'll start hearing some of those Sammy
well, like
songs.
you say, everybody's getting older and older, and we don't want to see. I mean, there's some people that. I was going to bring this up. Remember the band Sweet?
Yes, of course.
Now, have you seen them like now?
Yes.
They don't look sweet, right? Now,
No.
that's because of age, okay? Now, if you watch Sweet from 1975...
They should be called sour now.
They should be called just...
like Sweet and Sour.
A boil on a penis. They do not look anything like they used to. Of course not. Fuck, you're talking 40 years ago, okay? They're with Van Halen and bands out there. You better start touring now and doing, getting the band together and doing stuff, because there's going to be a time when you just can't. Just shit happens. People pass away. They can't run around. Like, I'll watch Van Halen now, and it's not the '84 Van Halen. It can't be. It's impossible. They just can't do that. That kind of sucks, because you want that nostalgia, but it's just, that's, if they really want to get back together, they better do it before it's too late, before they get a phone call saying, hey, you know what happened? Which is, who was it going to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? They took forever. The person dies.
Well, everybody. Yes. I mean, Rick Wakeman just put out an interview saying, I'm not going to go to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And they asked him why. And he was pretty much like, well, first of all, it should have been done 20 years ago. And second of all, Chris is not going to be there. And this guy's not going to be there. So screw you.
Yeah.
It's disrespectful to not have done it when they were alive. So,
Yeah, I'll never forget the Van Halen.
But on the other hand, though, there is one positive note of artists passing away, is that eventually all this music that they have in their vaults gets released. Right?
Yeah,
I mean,
But
they're talking
I
about a David Bowie box set with unreleased albums and a
they
Prince
fucking
box
do that
set,
all the
and
time. No, I
I
just
know, but there's some Kiss music that I'd like to hear.
what do you think of? I'm going to throw this at you. Tell me what you think, because I know that you know time is pressing. I hate time. I fucking hate time. But it's time.
It's not on my side. It really
Time is
isn't.
not on my side. I should have. Yeah, I should have started a group. It pisses me off. I go in a time machine. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start a group and learn how to play guitar, or I'm going to be friends with, like really close friends with a rock star and like ride their coattails and
Yeah,
just.
that's what I do.
That's what I seriously I would. I'd be like some fucking useless guy in the band, and I would
You mean
just
the drummer?
anything. I don't care, Mitch. I just want to be in the fucking band to get pussy. So I'm going to throw this at you. What did you think of the hair bands in the '80s? When I mean
Oh,
hair bands,
the poodle rock,
yeah,
as
the
they were
poodle
called.
rock. What did you think of
Sorry
that?
about that. I hit my mute mic because I had to cough. I love the '80s. I love the quote unquote hair bands. We like to call them the melodic rock bands or the melodic hard rock bands. I love them. That's my gig. I mean, I love my Poisons and my Pretty Boy Floyds and Quiet Riot and Warrant.
Yeah, I was
Um,
gonna ask you about that. No, I'm
Cinder,
with you. I'm with you. What do you think of
Rat.
bands? Yeah,
Love.
what do you think of? I'm gonna throw a couple bands at you and tell me what you think. Okay.
Yep.
Now, what did you think of Advil?
You mean Anvil?
Anvil, sorry, Anvil. I wrote it right. Yeah, I wrote it like the fucking. You got to see how I wrote
It's
this
funny.
fucking thing.
There's a lead singer in another very, very famous band. Him and I are not Anvil fans, and we refer to them as Advil because we say that they give us a headache. They give us a headache. So it's kind of funny that you went to our sort of in joke. But I hate Anvil with a fucking blue passion,
Oh, why?
mostly because the guys are dicks.
Really?
Period.
I saw
Oh,
I saw the documentary about them.
Oh, well, there's a reason they didn't make it anywhere. It's because they pissed off everybody. Here's a couple of examples I will give you from my own personal thoughts. I did an interview with one of the members, and I do it for my show, the writing, the podcast, the websites, the magazines, and all. And I post it. I post the interview online in full. And I get a Google alert saying Mitch Lafon, Anvil, blah, 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 at YouTube. And I go, I haven't fucking posted that interview at YouTube. What the fuck's this? So I go check it out. And it was on the band's official website. They had, on the official YouTube. And they had taken me out, all my questions, and they had subbed them in with somebody else, or what, I don't remember. And they made it just about their answers, and they had totally manipulated. And I wrote them and I said, hey, that's my, I don't want to play the copyright card on you, but that's my interview for me to use and massage and send out, as I
They put somebody else. They took
well,
you
they
out.
manipulated the interview to, yeah, they altered my parts. They had left it in there a little bit, but they had altered it so that the questions and everything was different. And I was like, huh.
That's
But
weird though.
but they had also stuck it on their YouTube and monetized it. And I'm like, what are you doing? What do you
Right.
It's my interview. It's not, And they go, no. And so I wrote the guy and I said, hey. He goes, I'm not taking it down. That's mine. Yada yada yada. Anyway, I ended up having to write a copyright complaint through YouTube, and YouTube pulled it. And I was like, you
Wow.
stupid motherfuckers. And here's another story. A friend of mine's a professional photographer, and he took pictures of the band, and he sent it to the band and said, hey, I've got these cool pictures, blah, blah, blah. And the band fucking stuck the pictures on merchandise. And he wrote them back and said, hey, if you're going to put it on merchandise, I get a cut. Well, they
Right.
never spoke to him again. They never even admitted that he existed. It's as if the guy disappeared. And so there are his pictures on different knickknack posters, T-shirts, whatever merch that he took, and they never paid him for it.
Jeez.
And they do that over and over. Tell you what, they played a bar recently, and I know the bar owners. And the bar owners have a restaurant upstairs, and the band went upstairs. And now, on catering, they had agreed to a buyout. A buyout means that the venue doesn't provide food; they give you a cash equivalent, right? So whatever, every guy gets $100 or whatever, you know. They went up to the restaurant. They ate. They invited their friends and crew and wives, and I mean, they were like a party of whatever. I don't know the exact number, but I'll say 12 to move the story along. And they walked out, and they said they told the waitress, they said, "Hey, put that on our charge it to the promoter." And she didn't know better, so she did, and she talked to the promoter and the owner, who's the promoter, and said, "Hey, Anvil just charged X amount of hundreds of dollars on all this Italian food. What do you want me?" And the promoter went, "Excuse me? No, 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 no. They took a buyout, and he goes, no." So he went to see the band in the dressing room, and now this guy's big. I mean, he's like 6'4", 400 pounds, but just big. And he said, "Here's the deal. You're going to pay for that." And they said, "No, we're not." He goes, "You're going to pay for it, or you see that drum set over there? You ain't leaving this venue with it." And this was in 2016, my friend.
Wow.
So they're still fucking dicks. So no, Anvil can go suck your boiled penis.
Boiled penis. Big boiled penis.
Oh, they are fucking awful. And I never talk badly about bands.
No,
public.
you never do. I'm just surprised that they rub you the wrong way. I thought you would have great stories. They no about them because
those are great stories.
No, because their documentary. I saw their documentary, and they seem like guys that were trying really, really hard, and it had a good feeling to it. And the guy worked.
Fuck them.
Yeah, well, it was kind of.
Well, and of course, the documentary, it gives you that feeling because they control the output, right? I mean,
Right.
If I made a documentary of Anvil, you wouldn't get a warm, cushy feeling. Trust me.
Yeah, have you ever thought of doing that?
Yeah, I've thought about putting that stuff together. It's just really hard.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah, and work doesn't scare me, and trying to get the financing doesn't scare me. It's just that, you look at some of the bands that I've wanted to do it. Some of them are Canadian, and you just go, well, is there going to be mass appeal? Whereas there's going to be some kind of payoff, not monetarily, but you're like, are we going to put this out there and it's just going to sink to the bottom of the lake like a rock? And it's just like, do I really want to invest all this time into something? So we'll see. I mean, there's still time. I mean, I like doing my little thing, my little interviews here and there.
No, they're great. They're enjoyable. I love listening to your interviews. I'm not saying that because I talk to you. It's just that they're just enjoyable. It seems like the way we're talking right now. That's how you talk to.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sort of scaling back. I'm going to send my interviews all over to one website now, talkingmetal.com. Everything else, all the other sites, I love them.
I'll put a link to that. So
yeah, that's sort of where we want to go. The site is sort of up and coming, and it does need a fresh coat of paint. But I just want to be Mitch and in control of Mitch stuff.
Sure.
There's one artist out there. I did an interview. Boy, do I want to get into names? No, I'll skip the names. A big band, 40-year career. And I did an interview with one of the guys, and of course they split up, and the interview was great, and he was talking about his old bandmate and all this, and there was nothing. I mean, the interview was as vanilla gets, but interesting. And this one site took it and added in this other stuff about the former singer and said all this negative stuff, and so the wife phones me and says, "How dare you?" And I go, "I didn't fucking do that. My interview, the interview is me. Everything else is not me." They go, no, it's your name on it. I go, "Yes, because I interviewed the guitarist, but the rest is not me. They built it. I don't have any editorial control. I don't care, blah, blah." And she fucking had me barred from all his shows.
Oh, God.
And I'm like, but it's not me.
That what it is. It's just they're at the boiling part. They're having a temper tantrum, and they.
Yeah, but she's right though. I mean, she's right about being angry about, because the stuff that they had framed or contextualized my interview in was very, very mean spirited.
Yeah.
I didn't do it, and I wish you would understand that I don't have editorial control on that said website. I mean, I can't phone somebody and say take it off. That they took it and did. I do my interviews and I put them out on iTunes and stuff. And when somebody steals the audio or embeds the audio,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know,
It's just I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. You have
and
no. I
yeah,
know.
and
It's a
and
downer.
it's terrible that happened, and I feel really bad because I'm a fan of the singer, I'm a fan of the band. They're still going strong, and I wish the wife would understand, but she won't. And now she's got me blocked on Facebook and blocked on Twitter, and it's like, but I didn't do it. I
Yeah.
didn't fucking do it. And so that's the point being that talkingmetal.com, they won't give me that hassle. It's a smaller boutique site, but the hope is that by landing my interviews there and having people go there, that at some point it'll grow into something big and beautiful. And I think it will. I
It
think it
will.
will.
What I love about it is, um, it's the tidbits. I love the little nuggets that you have of the stories, the background. I mean, if you do listen to the interviews, they are. I love the history.
They're well thought out. Tell you that
Yeah,
much.
they're very.
They're well researched.
Yeah, they very. The again, you always remind me of the famous, almost famous guy, where it's just you know the band inside and out, and that surprises the band, and I think the band gets very it's kind of like, hey, this guy did work. He kind of knows what we're about. He understands. He's not just some generic guy that just asks stupid questions like Vito D'Amico.
Yeah.
Um,
No,
that
but
that to me
you
is
have
that's
to
nice though. You
you
put the
have
work
to
to
have a
you. Yeah,
respect.
yeah.
If you say, so tell me about your album. Oh, that was great. So are you going on tour? Oh, do
Oh
you
God,
like
have you
tour?
seen that
Like,
Jerry Lewis interview?
yeah, the Jerry Lewis one. And
Uh,
unfortunately, most of rock radio or anything that's sort of entertainment tonight-ish is that kind of drab
Yeah,
interview.
he's been doing that for 90 fucking years. People are like, he's so rude, and I'm like, are you kidding me? He could give two shits about. How is Vegas? Do you remember Vegas? Has Vegas changed? It's like it's Jerry Lewis. You're gonna ask him these stupid questions. They're
Yeah.
regurgitated questions that he's sick and tired. He's giving you the honor of an interview. At least ask him something original and something that will wake him up.
But listen, I've been in the media tent at many events and festivals, and I will see reporters um, writing questions when their time slot is up, like in 5 minutes, and you'll see them and go, "What do you?" Oh, I'm just writing a few questions down. It's like, and they'll
Yeah.
say, "Hey, Mitch, what's the name of the new album?" It's like, you're going to interview so and so from Guns N' Roses or Metallica, and you don't fucking know the name of the. What are you doing here?
Yeah.
I'll tell you. Here's a good one. Um, I saw the band Entombed, Queensryche, and Iron Maiden at the Molson Center in Montreal, now the Bell Center. And the reviewer was for the Montreal Gazette was backstage stuffing his face with all the free hot dogs and all the free catering that had been made available. And
I
the
already like him.
Montreal
I'm sorry. I already like the guy.
Oh, you like the guy? I know. The Montreal show had this band Entombed open up, whereas the rest of the tour had Queensryche opening up. But for some reason, it was the first show or the second show of the tour. Queensryche couldn't make the Montreal date, so this band Entombed stepped in. And Entombed is like this death metal band, right?
Hmm.
Black death metal. And the next day in the Gazette, it says, Queensryche sounded awful. You couldn't hear their vocals.
Oh
Well,
no.
and
Oh
it's like,
Jesus.
dude, you're reviewing the fucking show and you don't realize that it wasn't Queensryche. So Queensryche gets this horrible, scathing review about how horrible they were opening up for this tour, and
Oh
they weren't
man.
even at the show. And that kind of disrespect and mentality goes on all the time.
Wouldn't he
It
have
goes
to
on
write?
to
Wouldn't he
this
have
day.
to write a like an apology for that?
Nobody knew, and this was it
Oh,
was sort of pre-internet day, or the internet. It was pre-social media days. So a few of us in Montreal went, "What a fucking idiot!" But the guy in Vancouver or in Singapore, he
sure.
doesn't know the fucking. Now, if he did that today, like Joey Boots of the Howard Stern Show died, and USA Today tweeted out, "Joey Baba Booey Boots died,"
Yeah,
and people started tweeting back, going, "You stupid fucks, that's not Baba Booey,"
yeah.
and that probably would have happened, but this was, I don't know, 96
But
maybe
that's
90.
sheer incompetence, though. That should get the guy fired. I mean, that is
But the people at
incompetence.
but the people at the newspaper, they don't fucking know who Entombed is. They don't know who
Oh,
Queensryche is.
I'd
They
fire
look,
the guy. If that was my paper, I'd fire the guy. I'd be like, do you not know what
but
the
they didn't.
fuck's going on? I mean, do you not? Are
But
you
the tour
blind?
was announced. The tour, if you did the research that was available, then it would say, "Here's the triple bill with Queensryche." This the fact that Entombed showed up in Montreal was
Right.
serendipitous, because Queens. I don't know. I don't know if it was. I don't think it was a border thing. I think they just were finishing some other tour or something and just couldn't be here. Um, Even if the head of the newspaper had done the research, he would have found, Queensryche, blah blah blah, going on tour, and anyway, I saw that, and I see these things, and I'm like, I'm not going to be that guy. I'm just not going to be that guy
No,
who's
but
going.
see, you have a passion for it, Mitch. That's the thing. You have like Buddy just could care less about bands. You actually care about the bands. It's like being a foodie, a person that loves food. Of course, you're gonna
Hey, are you
try out.
suggesting I don't know
No,
what a
no,
foodie is?
a person
I,
that loves food, and if
I,
he
what?
if he's gonna do restaurant reviews, he's gonna be the best at it. Okay, now you love the music, you live and breathe it. Of course, you're gonna be great at doing it because that's you have a passion for it. But if you just send somebody that's just generic out there that could really give to, and I know exactly what you're talking about, uh, could care less. There's no point in having that person there. There really isn't. I think it's poisonous to the business and detrimental to your business if you're going to have somebody out there. I would for if I had a newspaper, I would want your reports on bands because I'm going to get the fans are going to get something different. They're not going to get the same bullshit that who cares? It does nothing for me. I mean the
Unfortunately, though, the world is built on sound bites, and
yeah, but your sound bites are fantastic.
do you
I
know that back in the day, Bon Jovi and Phil Collins didn't even do interviews. They would send out a CD with a cue sheet and pre-recorded answers.
No, I didn't know that. I had no
And
idea. I had no idea that Bon Jovi would do that. Or but
oh, I
I
have, I have, I have a Phil Collins CD at home and a Bon Jovi CD at home that I had been sent. I had an interview that appeared in a magazine where Mitch interviewed John and Richie, and I'll be perfectly honest, Mitch didn't interview John and Richie. Mitch listened to the interview on CD, transcribed the answers, and massaged it and molded it into a piece.
wow.
And but you know what? I wasn't the only one. If you go back to that tour, and I'm trying to think which one it was for. I think it might have been for
Slippery
their
when wet.
live album. No, no, no. It might have been for the live album that came out in like 97 or 98. You go back and you pull tape of any interview from any station, you will hear the exact same answers in Montreal, Toronto, San
That's
Diego,
true.
London,
No, that is true. Yeah.
and and it's I have a cue sheet. It says, um, this will be like, it wrote out the questions and said, okay, and at this point John will say this, and the answer ends here, so that you know when to cue in again. So if you decide to play it live, which would be stupid to do, but some of them did, you would go, okay, John says, and thank you for that question, okay, now you can ask your second question. And Phil Collins did the same thing.
But I heard
And
Phil's a dick though.
how do you know? I mean, I don't know.
That's what like every article I've ever read about the guy, they say that he's just a dick. Which I'm a big Genesis fan. I
He
I
could be. You know.
I could see it. Like I could see him being a dick, which I don't care. I mean, everybody's, I think when you've been that big for that long, I could see it. I could totally see it.
Yeah. So, but I was going to prepare that Phil Collins interview as well, and I never did. But it was a CD that was sent to me with all the cues. Here's, he says this at this time, this at that time. The answer starts with him saying this, and it ends with him saying that, so that if you're putting it together for a radio show, you know where to bump in and bump out and
Right.
tag here. Yeah, so my one Bon Jovi interview is a complete smoke and mirror.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
But you know what? I admit it readily. I didn't admit it. Oh, I never talked about it back then. But having your name associated with Mitch Lafon interviews Bon Jovi was good for the brand.
sure, of course.
So you play
Yeah,
along.
yeah, of course. If you didn't play along and you did something stupid, you said, "By the way,
And I can't complain too much. Listen, they being the record company asked me to come to the show in Ottawa, which I believe was the Corel Center at the time, and said, "Come and pick up the CD in hand. We don't like to send these through the mail, and while you're here, you can stick around and watch the show on us."
right,
Okay, I get to watch Bon Jovi for free.
right,
Fine.
yeah, no,
With
that's wicked.
with
Hey,
trying to think where they put
you
me.
got
I
to.
think they
Sorry,
Yeah, I was just trying to think. I think they put me like in the private box, or I remember watching it from a private box or something. So they must have, yeah. So it was like, come and watch it with us in the Universal private box where everybody. I don't remember having a seat for that. So you know,
well,
I can complain.
hey
Can't
man,
complain.
you're living something that I mean, I'm totally jealous. But you know what?
I'd love to
When
find that article. I know I have the magazines somewhere, but I'd love to actually reread it and just see. I mean, I crafted it wonderfully. I'm great with the English
well,
language,
you've
so
got a plethora of interviews that are just wonderful, man. I mean, they just give me a. We'll wrap it up here. Where can people? I'm going to put your Twitter up, but
at Mitch Lafon.
okay, at Mitch Lafon, and anything you want to plug? You already did, but you want anything
Yeah,
else?
let's plug away. So first of all, Twitter is at Mitch Lafon, MITCHLAFON. Instagram is the same thing, except there's an underscore between the Mitch and the Lafon. And head over to talkingmetal.com. That's where all the interviews will be. There's a tab on there that says one-on-one. That's me, one-on-one with Mitch Lafon. So you'll find everything I do under that tab. And I've got a couple of good ones coming up. I've got Kofi Baker, who's the son of Ginger Baker from Cream. He starts talking about Steve Marriott and his night of pretending to be a Nazi, which was sort of a weird story for him to tell. Simon Kirk of Bad Company talks about how they hired Brian Howe under the feet of Foreigner, who were looking to replace Lou Gramm with him at the time. I went back into my vaults and I found the interview I did with Robin Crosby of Rat.
Yeah, I saw
90
it.
minutes of him. I listened to it yesterday, and it is more compelling than I remembered. And I'm not trying to pat myself on the back. Robin Crosby, when I called him, was in a hospice. The end was near. He knew it was near. And he says right at the beginning of the interview, he says, "I don't give a fuck. I'm going to tell you like it is." And there is not a single person that does not walk out of that interview that has without mud on them. He just goes at it. And
That's awesome. I love that. That is
and
fucking awesome.
yeah, and it's on mini disc, so I'm just trying to figure out how to get it onto MP3. But I'll figure it out. I'm not that stupid. I'll pay somebody if I have to. But when that Robin Crosby, which, as far as I'm aware, is the last one he ever gave before he passed away, boy, when I put that up, people are their heads are gonna spin. I mean, that is just, and I'm gonna put the whole thing up. I'm not gonna cut it. I'm not gonna edit it. The conversation at the beginning, the first 2 minutes where it's like, "Hey, Robin, how you doing? We'll do this." I'm gonna put everything. I'm not gonna cut out anything from it.
Right.
Everything, the hey, how's it going? To yeah, the beginning starts with, hey, I was trying to call you yesterday, but you weren't answering. I'm leaving the whole thing on.
I love that.
Everything. You're
No, I
getting the
love
whole
that.
thing.
That is that I love that. And that to me, that it's nuggets that like that. Little
Oh,
things
you're
like
gonna love.
that mean a lot to me and
You're gonna love
with
this.
your permission, I would totally put a link to that
Of
to
course, link anything you want. And the funny thing is that these are on mini disc. Mini disc ran out after 75 minutes. So there's a part two. So the only editing will be for me to take,
yeah.
disc one and the part two and stick those together. But that's it. That's the only sort of cut and paste. Is just connecting that because the source tape is on two tapes. But you'll see. I listened yesterday. I was just going to listen yesterday to see if the sound was good, and I was 45 minutes into it, just holding it in my hand, sitting in this chair, going, uh, and I was like, "Oh fuck, I've listened." I mean, that's how good it was.
Right, right.
45 minutes later, I'm still listening to see if the sound was good.
I do
Um,
that with porn. I'm like, I'm only gonna watch this for like 5 minutes, and then I
three
know,
hours later, you're still
yeah.
hedging.
It's like,
Way to go!
fuck, man. What? God, I gotta get that. I need help. But you are a encyclopedia of rock and roll. I mean, the stuff that you know.
Well, it's well
And
researched.
you know what's cool? Yeah, it's research, but also there's a lot of shit that I know that you don't tell, and it's kind of like
Yes.
people go to you. It's kind of like you're that confessional priest where they'll tell you shit because they kind of know. Yeah, Mitch isn't going to tell anybody. So if you wanted to, you could destroy people's careers, but you don't.
Yes.
You're very,
I could.
very
I could,
considerate.
but
You're very
there's
considerate.
no. Yeah, but there's no advantage to that. There's
No, I know, but
also
you're not.
there are also people
I
that are
don't
not
think.
rock stars
Yeah,
that I
but I
could
don't
destroy their
think you're a
career.
mean person, Mitch. I
I'm not.
don't. That's the thing. I
I'm
don't
I'm
think
not
you're an
I'm
asshole. I
not
think
mean
you're.
spirited at all.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. You're not that
Because you
type
know
of
what?
guy.
We're all just working our way through life trying to, everybody's just trying to be happy and have their little place.
Yeah.
Why do you need to piss on somebody's parade? If you don't like the way somebody acts and you don't like the way they behave or you don't like the way they look, nothing forces you to associate with them.
Right.
Just move on to the next person. There's like you look at Anvil. I wish them well. I hope that their shows sell out. I hope that they make a living. Am I going to support it? No,
Right.
but so what? So what? Um, yeah, I don't understand that need to destroy and bash, and I mean, I guess I just did with Anvil, and
I
I
know. I did too.
apologize for that. But
I'm very vindictive. But
but
that's just me being a fucking child moron that I am. Listen, I
you know,
want to thank you for your time, man.
I hope you're on the Just for Laughs festival.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, hold
Most
your
of us, I
fucking
want to be
breath
on the
on that
guest
one.
list.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I'm on this year. Yeah, look for me. I'll be there.
You'll
Um
be on Saturday.
yeah.
Well, they do have the street, St. Catherine's, where they have outdoor things. You could probably just stand there with a megaphone and.
No, they have me playing. I don't play the like I play the festival, but it's like the Goomba. Like it's like they'll have like I won't be the big stage. I'll be like some guy's fucking little bar, but it's still packed and people have a good time. Uh,
Yeah, but that's what makes the festival great is that you get because I tell you, I've gone the last couple of years and I have not gone to the main stage on purpose. I saw Jimmy Carr twice in a little place called the Jesus, which seats
yeah,
like four
yeah,
people. That was first of all, you're right next to him.
yeah.
You're right up there. Like I think in a comedy show, especially one like him, when he picks on the audience, there's no benefit in being the guy on the 80th row out of 4,000 people in a large venue. That there's no vibe to that.
Yeah,
You
that's
want
the thing that I never like. Trust me, I would love to play those big fucking rooms. That would be a dream come true. But if you
Yeah, but
ever do
it's
a
not the same
show, it's
vibe.
not the same. It's stand up. The audience needs to be like where you could
In your
pretty much
face.
touch them, and the room
And you need
has.
that one jerk to tell you to shut up. You
No, I
need that
hate that.
one.
I usually the last show I beat the
Yeah,
shit
but
out of a guy. So, yeah, I
it's
won't be playing the big show. But no, I wanna thank you, man. You're always so nice, and you are the Ayatollah of rock and roll journalism. And yeah. So I'm gonna put up those links, folks. You're listening to the Wrecking Crew Comedy Podcast. I'm Vito D'Amico. We've been talking to Mitch Lafon. for 2017. Don't die. Just hold off till 2018, and we'll all go.
I
We'll
do
all
have a heart condition.
we'll all go on some little boat in Quebec, and we'll sink it. It'll be fun.
Yeah, that's a great festival.
Okay, boss. I'll talk to you
Cheers.
later. Ciao.
Bye bye.